Today, the shootout of two very important cameras, the Kodak Fun Saver versus the Fujifilm Quick Snap. They both come with 27 exposures, and they're single-use cameras, which means you just send this to the lab and they develop it. And Marshall was telling us a story about how he used to work in a lab and they would throw screwdrivers at these once they're disassembled, and the battery would actually make the screwdriver fly back at them. Wow, the packaging. Like, this is my first unboxing video. Look at that, cardboard sleeve. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Build quality, it's absolutely weather sealed. No problem whatsoever going out into the rain with this. Next up, we have the Fujifilm Quick Snap. And the Fujifilm camera comes in this, I feel like I have to eat some Pop-Tarts. Oh. Also very nice. From a form factor standpoint, I didn't think this was going to be really a real review, but the difference is that I would be very happy to bring this with me. This fits very easily into your pocket, whereas this is a little, I don't know, you could. This is, so far as form factor goes, the Fujifilm is in fact winning. To turn the flash on, the Fujifilm, you flip this one up, you hear the capacitor charging, and you get this little red light, and you're ready to go. That actually charges really fast. I guess now it's a non-scientific test, but basically by the time I flipped it up and spun, it was ready to fire, which is pretty cool. So, first photo on this Fujifilm Quick Snap. For the first photo, not really seeing what my frame is. Let's try, what do we want there? The Kodak Fun Saver, you just hit this button up front here. A better system overall, I think, but I think that you will accidentally hit that more often than not. Did the flash go off?
Nope.
Try again. There we go. I'm gonna say usability-wise, Fuji far superior here. I didn't think I'd be struggling to turn a flash on a disposable camera today. We'll begin with the Kodak this time. All right, flash. And then the Fuji, it feels more fun. When this goes off, you're like, yeah, I took that photo. This, I don't know. All right, now I'm gonna try a few without the flash. We'll do. No flash, and I will also say, looking through the viewfinders, the Kodak is definitely, you get kind of this warping. It feels kind of like you're looking through a plastic toy, which I guess you kind of are. The Fuji actually has a very nice, very brighter than the Kodak viewfinder that doesn't really distort the edges, so I don't know. It's nicer to look through this Fuji here. I thought I'd like the Kodak better because I like Kodak film better, but user experience of the Fuji, I'm really starting to enjoy. I'm gonna do one with flash. And then attempt to turn the flash on for this. I figured it out now. That's better. And Fuji, let's see. Some improvements can be made as far as just letting you know when the flash is on or off, but the flashes both fire, which is nice. Did I do this with no flash? Cool. Here we are on the street. I'm going to use the flash as a fill flash, so I'm going to have Clarissa standing kind of in the center here, and I'm going to use both these cameras with the flash to see how it works. And then let's do one with no flash. Lovely. I almost fell over. That's how you know you're doing good photography. You're almost falling over. Oh yeah, Marshall, you're not in a photo yet. Do you want flash or no flash?
I don't know.
I think you go flash. I think when you got one of these cameras.
I think you have to.
Also, how much battery comes in these? Is it like just enough to power? It's a lot. Is it like way too much of battery? So you can take this out. Just disassemble it at home. Don't do that.
No, you can.
Don't.
Totally fine.
It says clearly, do not disassemble, do not open.
What?
On the back. So.
You know.
Well, that's a much more. Marshall just hit us with another fun fact of his days in the lab, that when you have the flash loaded, you can actually just kind of smack it. Doesn't work for me.
Oh yeah, you forgot.
He did it.
Harder.
You do it.
Was it this one I did it with?
First time. And there you have it. Single use, Fuji versus Kodak. I haven't seen the results yet. You've seen them on the screen. Let's go inside to talk a little bit more now that I've seen the results. I guess maybe as a preface, now that I've seen the images, I would be hard-pressed probably to select which images were from which camera if you just gave me a selection of 10, 20 of these and told me to pick. I don't know if I'd do better than 50%. I feel like I'd maybe do 60%. It does also come down to who is scanning them as well as developing. So we've used Richard Photolab, which is a very kind of overkill professional lab for such an assignment like this. But they've done an incredible job. And whether you know it or not, your lab is also making slight edits to your photos as well as far as exposures go. So they get the film and they make some edits before they actually give it back to you, or most labs do. I'm not sure if 100% all of them do, but I feel like all the ones that I've worked with do. And as you can see on the screen, Fuji on the left always and Kodak always on the right. In this specific instance, both images are very, very pleasing, in my opinion. I think that they both worked out really well. They both have kind of that, I guess, disposable camera, direct flash style vibe to them. Next up, the most direct red eye that you can probably extract from a camera. As you can tell, Clarissa is unfortunately a little bit out of focus. There's no automatic focus on these cameras, and the focus point is kind of set to infinity. You're shooting at a very high f-stop, so there will be a lot in focus, but the closer somebody gets to your lens, the more out of focus they are going to become, unfortunately. So maybe find the sweet spot. I'm going to say, from what we experienced, maybe like 6, 7, 8 feet is kind of that spot where everything begins being in focus. But if this is the look you're going for, awesome. So as you can see, definitely kind of a little more detail in the Fuji here. So maybe optical quality of the plastic lens, maybe a little bit better here on the Fuji. That said, the Kodak, it just feels nice. It feels like a nice point and shoot image. Next up, definitely some differences here. But again, you could fix all of this and make them look very similar if you wanted to. I would say that the main standout differences for me here are kind of the green tones. And well, traditionally, I would say Fuji is kind of the king of those green tones. I actually very much prefer the Kodak in this one here. That emeraldy green, I really, really like it. But again, more detail over here. And maybe a note, try to keep your subject's head out of things in the background like that, especially when you're shooting an image that you know is just going to be flat and there's going to be no depth of field in it. Next up, and I'm going to say for me, I'm happy with both those images, that I have no specific preference to either. Here we go is one that I definitely prefer, the Kodak. I don't know if it is maybe a little bit more technically correct. There's definitely some issues as far as flare go with the Fuji here. I think I do like the Kodak better, but this has a very unique and interesting look, and it would be a very unique thing to shoot in this style, kind of that backlit style portrait with fill flash. It definitely creates a look and an element of randomness that you probably can't predict. Next up, I'm just going back and forth. In this image, I prefer the Fuji. It feels nicer. This is kind of starting to feel a little bit like a Hoga image. I'm guessing that it was quite overexposed, and Richard Photolab really brought it back for me, judging from kind of the way that, I don't know, the things are kind of haloing. But again, that's the element of randomness with these cameras, and whichever you prefer, you're welcome to prefer that. Next up, an image with a little bit more green, and kind of with Kodak, those tones staying a little bit more washed out. Fuji coming together with a lot more detail. Choose what you like. I'm going to say in this image here, I definitely prefer the Fuji. Next up are photos of Marshall. I feel like there's just kind of a softness in the Kodak that I really dig. This is more technically correct probably, but you're not really looking for technical perfection if you're looking at disposable cameras. Next up, and last up, this one goes to Fuji. Anything you're looking for more kind of hazy, dreamy quality, I feel like you go with the Kodak. So it is completely up to you and your choices. Those are the images that we took. Thank you for joining me here.